Let's come to a nice, comfortable seat in our chairs. You can scoot forward a little bit, find those sit bones, so adjust a little bit. Off-stage stuff was happening. The closet was open. It was very distracting. Okay, for real. Find a nice, comfortable seat, and then give your shoulders a little roll out. Kind of just check in, see how the neck and shoulder area is feeling today. And then let those shoulders roll back, down, your shoulder blades gently squeeze in towards each other. Take your hands on your thighs. Allow your eyelids to close. And then take a couple of inhales through your nose. And then open your mouth, sigh the breath out, ha. And then you're gonna seal your lips. You're gonna start to inhale through your nose. And also exhale through your nose. And so you start to create that soft rush of air in the back of your throat. And you're letting the inhale lengthen out. You're letting the exhale lengthen out. And it might take a few moments here for everything to settle, but do bring your attention to your breath and use that breath as a tool to help you find some focus, some stillness. Check in with your shoulders again. Make sure they're not creeping up towards your ears. Good. From here, gently blink your eyes open, and then let's just right away move into some cat-cow. So as you inhale, you can rock forward on your sit bones. Find that arch in your lumbar back. And then as you exhale, you rock in the opposite direction, drop chin towards chest. Inhaling, arching. Exhaling, rounding in. And then feel free to close your eyes again if that feels good. Sometimes it just helps to kind of quiet the mind. Keep the gaze inward. Bring your attention to your spine. Notice the places that feel fluid and easy. Can you transfer a little of that feeling to any of the spots that might feel a little tighter, a little more tender, a little stuck? And then just noticing how it feels to start to connect to movement with breath. It often feels a little bit like a moving meditation. Few more rounds here. Good. And then let's go ahead and come back. to a nice tall seat. And from here, you're gonna just start to make those little circles in the hips. So pick a direction. You can start small, gradually get a little bigger. You're gonna probably feel this more in the lower back, the hips. Let's just kind of notice what's going on. You could actually feel this in the neck and shoulders as well. And then let's start to switch directions here. Nice work. You can start to make those circles a little smaller so you're feeling that weight shift from sit bone to sit bone until it is imperceptible and you're pressing evenly into both. So you're coming back to that Tadasana, that mountain pose. We're gonna come into a little hip opener here, a couple of options. Number one, you can always just stay here in Dandasana, or Tadasana rather. If you wanna find like a warrior two leg, you could gently open up this right leg any amount. Just kind of go to that place where you're feeling stretch in your body. It's going to be different for all of us. And then the other variation would be to cross your right ankle just above that left knee. And then find those sit bones, press down evenly, lengthen through the sides of your waist. And you're feeling this hip stretch. So send your breath to this outer right hip. If you're in the warrior two leg variation, you might be getting a little stretch on the inseam of the leg as well. And whatever pose you're doing, get curious about how it's feeling in your body today. It's always a little different every time we do our yoga practice. Things are always shifting. So even though we do the same poses over and over again, there's little, variations, nuance. And as such, we make little adjustments. All right, so from here, you can just release your arms down by your sides. So we're gonna keep getting that hip stretch. As you inhale, take the arms out and up. And then spin the palms to face out. Exhale, give yourself a little resistance as you press down. Let's inhale, reach forward and up. Just finding a little movement in the shoulder girdle, even as we're stretching our hips. Exhale. Forward and down, beautiful. Find that external rotation. Reach out and up, take up lots of space for muscle to bone in the arms. And then find that internal rotation at the shoulder head. Give yourself a little resistance as you press the air down. Inhale, forward and up, so arms pretty neutral in the shoulder socket. Exhale, forward and down. Let's do one more set here. If it feels like too much, you just skip it. Inhale, arms reach out and up. Internal rotation, exhale, press out and down. Inhale, forward and up. And then exhale, forward and down. So spin those palms open. Inhale, reach out and up. And then this time, just take those arms out wide as you exhale. Deep inhale here. Exhale, let's twist to the right. Take an inhale, really lengthen. And then as you exhale, you're gonna take your hand, right hand behind you. Left hand is gonna come somewhere on your right shin, right thigh. It might be on your left thigh, especially if you're in that warrior two setup with your legs. So you find a place that feels good. First twist of the day can be really intense. So it doesn't have to be like the peak of the pose. Keep it easy, do a little less. Do check in with your shoulder heads, make sure that they're pressing back. Feel your sternum lift up towards the ceiling. And then you might move towards bringing your gaze out. over that right shoulder. And of course, as we introduce a twist into this pose, it's going to change the equation of where you're feeling sensation and stretch in your lower body. So get curious about that. Good, let's take one more deep inhale here. And then as you exhale, you're going to start to unwind. You're going to give yourself a hug. Right arm is going to come on top. All right, so you're grabbing the outer edges of your shoulders, shoulder blades, just sitting nice and tall here and gently lifting the elbows up. So getting a little shoulder stretch. And I say little, but sometimes it can be quite intense. Keep that breath moving. And then maybe you just start to bring your gaze up a little bit. Feel that lift of your sternum up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to inhale, reach the arms up, out, and down. Good, so one final little piece here, just to get a little deeper into the hips. We're going to start to hinge forward and fold in. So you can rest your hands anywhere on your legs. We're like early in class, so this is probably going to feel pretty intense. If you do tend to be more flexible in your hips, you could always grab your blocks and set them up in front of you. You could use a desk in front of you. So as you know, there's always ways that we can use props to support us in these poses. And just notice if your breath starts to get ragged here. So as I forward fold, I'm definitely getting more hip stretch. I'm feeling it in that right glute. Do less if you need to, but if you can kind of just start to settle into the pose a little bit, move in that direction. And then since we're in this forward fold, back out a little bit. So we're going to kind of think Ardha Uttanasana. You're going to either take that left hand kind of like on your left ankle if your hand is crossed, or it's going to be on top of that left thigh. Bring your right hand to your right hip and then start to twist to the right. So kind of just a little different variation of twist. And then it kind of gets in your lower right hip area. If you wanted, you could lift that right arm up. You might be gazing at that right thumb. And then final little piece here, you could spin your right palm to face forward. Maybe you reach that arm up over your ear. So this is almost like an extended side angle pose variation. If you're feeling really spicy today, you might extend that left arm up, or out rather. And that's a lot of side core body. And then as you inhale, upright yourself, and then square your torso to face forward. That was exciting. Release your hands down. With any luck, we'll all feel that a little bit tomorrow on the side body. All right, so go ahead and come back to your Tadasana, your mountain pose. And before we move to the second side with that like sequence, let's just do a couple rounds of cat-cow, just as a little palate cleanser, kind of release the lower back out after some of that hip stretching. And maybe you'll notice here that your spine is already beginning to feel a little more open, a little more limber. Get a couple more rounds. And then go ahead and come back to that nice tall seat. And we will come into the hip opener on our second side. This side need not look like the other side. So there might be something going on in your body that precludes you from doing the same pose. So just go ahead and make your way. Either you can stay into Tadasana, you can find this warrior two leg, or you can cross your left ankle above that right knee. And then we're just taking several breaths here in this initial pose, kind of taking stock of how it's feeling on this side. Good, and then you can release your hands down. So let's start opposite this time. So as you inhale, this time we'll reach forward and up. And exhale, forward and down. Little external rotation, inhale, out and up. Find that internal rotation, exhale, out and down. Inhale, forward and up. Exhale, forward and down. Find that external rotation, inhale, out and up, firming muscle to bone. And then internal rotation, press out and down. All right, inhale, reach forward and up. Good, and then as we exhale, we're gonna take our arms out like wings here. Feel those shoulder blades plug in towards each other. Deep inhale and exhale, twist to the left. Take a deep inhale here, really fill up, find length in your spine. As you exhale, release your hands down. So again, that right hand is gonna be probably on your right thigh if you're doing your warrior two legs. If you've got that left shin crossed, or ankle rather, crossed above your right knee, you could rest your left hand on that shin. And inhale, feel that lift of your sternum up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, you empty out, you twist in a little deeper. You might be moving towards bringing your gaze out over your left shoulder. And again, getting curious about how the equation of this pose changes. Where are you getting sensation that's different when we were just facing forward in that basic hip stretch? And then always just checking with your breath again, making sure it's smooth and steady. Good, one more deep inhale here. And then as you exhale, start to unwind, give yourself that hug. This time the left arm comes on top. So elbows stack on top of each other. You're holding on to the outer arm, shoulder blades, and then sitting nice and tall. So spine is straight. Where you're starting to lift those elbows up, so you're feeling a little stretch in the back of the shoulders. Reconnecting with that rhythm, that sound of your breath. Keep those elbows lifted, but maybe start to bring your gaze up. And then on your next inhale, stretch the arms up. And then out and down. Really nice work. So again, we find our little forward fold here. So you can rest your hands anywhere on your legs. You could rest hands on a table in front of you. You can use your blocks. Just melting in. And usually when we forward fold with the legs in a hip opener, it does intensify things. It definitely shifts where you're getting sensation. Okay, let's inhale back out of this a little bit. So it's more like an Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. You're going to take your left hand, so you're either going to rest it on that left ankle if your leg is crossed, or you're just going to take your right hand on your right thigh, and then bring your left hand to your hip, and then just start to spin open. So it's kind of like a little half forward fold. This is like a Parsvakonasana, side angle pose. You can stay here like this. If you want to reach that left arm up, you're welcome to do so. You might be gazing up at that left thumb. And then perhaps you start to extend that left arm over. So you're getting this nice elongation through the left side body. Can you find a little more of that through the right side? So again, we start to engage those side oblique muscles. Breath doesn't skip a beat. And then to come on out of this, if you wanted to stretch that right arm forward and out as well. So we're still on an angle. You're using a little core to inhale, come up. And then exhale, you can unwind your torso. Beautiful work. And as you exhale, release your hands down. Let's come back to our Tadasana, our mountain pose. Just peek down at your feet. Make sure that you've landed with your knees over your ankles. Make any little adjustments that you need to. And then as you exhale, start to drop your chin in towards your chest. Keep those shoulders releasing down. We've done a little bit to warm them up, so maybe it feels like you're getting more release in the back of your neck. Kind of about halfway through the class at this point. We usually do a lot of the neck stretching at the beginning, so it might feel a little different, kind of mixing things up. Let's inhale, lift the chin here. And then exhale, bring your gaze out in the direction of that right shoulder. Shoulder blades keep releasing down. You could pretend that somebody's just gently pressing down on your shoulders. And then you might have to back out a little bit. Must start to drop your chin towards your chest. And that's going to intensify the sensation that you're getting on the left side of your neck. So again, just really listen to your body. Do more if you need to, do less if you need to. Sometimes it's harder to do less. And then just keep your chin tucked here. Take several rounds of breath to roll back to center. Pause in the places where you're getting a little extra sensation and stretch. Send your breath to those spots. And then just pausing again when you get back to center. Breath smooth and steady. From here, inhale, lift your chin. So keeping the spine nice and long, but as you exhale, just start to turn to the left. And just go as far as feels good to that point where you're getting some stretch. This side might be different. I'm just taking a few good rounds of breath here in this initial stage of the pose. And then start to tuck your chin at that angle. Observe if your shoulders want to get in on the action and help out, because this can be quite intense. If that's where you're at, soften those shoulders down. Breath smooth and steady. And then chin staying tucked. Taking your time, moving slow, pausing, taking a few breaths in any places that are feeling tight. We begin to make that journey back to the center. And then as you inhale, start to lift your chin. Give the shoulders a little roll out here. And it might feel good to roll them forward. Good. You roll them back one more time. Release your arms by your sides. As you inhale, take that left arm up and over. So find that side stretch, leaning off to the right. And then exhale, release down. Inhale, right arm reaches up and over. And exhale, release. Continuing like this, moving with the breath, just finding a little side body flow. Really trying to lengthen, extend. Beautiful work, everybody. The next time you are side bending to the right, stay there. Keep a little weight in that left sit bone. Feel your shoulder blades releasing down your back. Feel those right ribs wrapping up towards the ceiling. And then again, if you wanted to extend that right arm off to the side, it's going to just intensify things a little bit. It's like extra weight. And then use your core to inhale up to center. And exhale. Side bending to the left, putting a little extra weight in that right sit bone. So finding all of that extension from right hip up through those right fingertips. And then this might feel adequate. Stay here. Maybe you reach through that left arm. See if you can lengthen the left side of your body a little bit. You might come out of the side bend. And then inhale up to center. And exhale. Release your arms down by your sides. So let's move into a little flow. We'll incorporate the side bending, but then we'll move into our half sun salutes. So if you'd like to have blocks set up for your Sun salutes, you're welcome to do that. Of course, they are not necessary, but they can be a nice tool to have sometimes. All right, so arms released by your sides. Let's inhale, take that left arm up and over. And then exhale, release down. Inhale, right arm comes up and over. And exhale, release. This time, both arms reach either forward and up or out and up. Maybe you gaze up, press palms. And then as you exhale, you can swan dive in. You could use your hands to help you roll down. They're both good options. Let the back of your neck lengthen and release. Inhale, hands might press into your blocks here. Could be on shins or thighs. You're lengthening through the sides of your waist. Exhale. Release back down, chin drops towards chest. And from here, you can reverse swan dive out with a nice flat, strong back, or maybe you use your hands to help you roll on up, eventually reaching the arms out and up. And then as you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Beautiful work. So releasing your arms down by your side. This time, as we inhale, we side bend to the left. And exhale, release down. Inhale, side bend to the right. And exhale, release. Inhale, take up space. Reach up, extend, Utthita Hastasana into Tadasana. Can you keep all of this length even as you're folding into your Uttanasana? Inhaling, lengthening Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, you fold back in. And then rooting into your feet, arms reach out and up. Or you roll up. Beautiful work. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. So let's do 2 more of these. You can incorporate the side bend if you like that. Just going to let you move with your breath here. Could always sit quietly or just come back to simple cat and cow if that feels better for you today. Let these sun salutes feel spacious. Let them feel really graceful. There's absolutely no rush. You're finding your own pace here. When you're done with that second round, palms come together at your heart, close your eyes, just take a few moments, pausing, observing how you feel. Letting the breath slow down. Good, and then you're going to blink your eyes open here. We're going to move into some downward facing dogs, and we'll do some twists. So you can use an extra chair, a wall in front of you, a table in front of you. I'm going to grab my second chair here. I like to have the back of the chair facing towards me because then I can use both the back and the seat. Either way works good though. And you can kind of extend forward, so you want to see that arm extension, so it might take a minute to sort of find that setup. But let's find our Tadasana pose again. So you root down into your sit bones. You're pressing there. Your shoulders are balanced over your sit bones. Knees are over your ankles. Release your arms by your sides. And before we even reach them out and up, start to just engage the muscles. So you're feeling muscle firm to bone. And then inhale. Reach the arms out and up about shoulders distance apart, maybe even a little wider, especially if your shoulders are tighter. And then spin your palms to face forward. Gently spread your fingers. And then hinging at that hip crease, start to extend forward. I'm going to creep my chair forward a little bit. And it can be nice if you're like on the seat of the chair, you can then definitely spread your fingers, press down into the seat of the chair, and then just feel this rebounding up through your forearms. Your ears are lining up with your biceps, that inner upper arm. And you're feeling that inner upper arm wrap towards your outer upper arm. Feeling that widening across the backs of your shoulders. So an active pose, it gives us lots of beautiful extension in the spine. A lot of space is created for the breath to move, so just notice how that feels. And then from here, just start to bring your gaze forward. So you're kind of just gazing between your hands. So it's almost like a little Ardha Uttanasana feeling. Walk your right hand to the left. So it's kind of like that middle finger is lining up with your nose. Bring your left hand to your hip. And then exhale, start to spin your right ribs to the left. So kind of like a deep forward fold almost here, in addition to this twist. So it might feel pretty intense. If you wanted to reach through those left fingertips, so extending that arm to straight, and you can just imagine that you're kind of getting pulled in opposite directions. Can you hold on to that sensation even as you roll those right ribs up towards the ceiling? And then maybe spin that left palm to face up towards the ceiling. And then inhale, reach that arm up and over. And unwind here, come back to that downward facing dog. And before we come into the second side, let's take a little pause here. So bring your right hand to your thigh, then your left hand to your thigh. Use the strength of your arms to press into your thighs, to come back to your Tadasana mountain pose. Gaze soft and gentle in front of you. Just take a few breaths here. Might even get a little head rush. So downward dog is definitely a version of a forward fold and an inversion. Let's reach the arms by our side, so palms facing in this time. Inhale, stretch forward and up. And then internally rotate at that shoulder socket. And then again, start to hinge forward. Find your prop that's giving you a little feedback. Let the back of your neck lengthen. You're just probably gazing several inches in front of your feet. Breath is smooth and steady. You're inhaling through your nose. You're exhaling through your nose. And then start to bring your gaze between your thumbs, so you're lifting a little bit in that upper body. Walk your left hand to the right, so you're kind of lining up your middle finger with your nose. Bring your right hand to your right hip, take an inhale, and then exhale, root down into that left palm. Start to spin those left ribs to the right. What's going on with the breath? It's not necessarily easy, but when things get challenging, sometimes we hold our breath. Stay here like this, or maybe straighten that right elbow and see how long you can get. And then you're going to find external rotation of that shoulder head. So you're going to start to spin that right palm up towards the ceiling. And then inhale, reach it up and over like a giant rainbow. Start to unwind. Find your downward facing dog. Couple of breaths. See your best version of this pose yet. And then you can bring your gaze forward, bring your left hand to your thigh and your right hand to your thigh. Ooh, and then you're going to start to press up, coming back to your Tadasana, your mountain pose. Again, you might get like a little bit of a head rush, so just take a few breaths here. Let everything even out. So let's do another twist here with a different leg variation. Options are to stay in your Tadasana pose. If you wanted to extend your left leg to straight, you could do that. This would be a good place to stay. If you're using a chair, if you're working with a chair, you also might be able to take your left heel on the seat of the chair. And then perhaps if you're in that variation, you extend that right leg to straight. So we're kind of creating these pyramid pose legs. So they're all good little variations here. And then we're going to release our arms by our sides. We're going to inhale, take the arms out and up. And then we're going to hinge forward at the hips again, and we're going to start to take a little forward fold and try to keep your spine nice and long. It's going to round a little bit. That's okay. So you can see, kind of depending upon flexibility, the length of your limbs. You're using a chair, kind of the crease of my elbow is at the top of that chair. That's great. And you're probably getting a pretty intense stretch in that left hamstring. You can always bend the knee a little bit if you need to. That'll take some of the work out. And then just back out of this forward fold a little bit. And then just move that right hand kind of to the center, off to the left a little bit. And then again, left hand to left hip. And then start to wrap those right ribs to the left. It's going to intensify the stretch that you're feeling in left hamstring, like glute medius, glute maximus, that outer hip area. And if you want to extend that right arm, you might even kind of gaze at that left thumb. And then again, if you want to spin that left palm up towards the ceiling, make that giant rainbow with your arm. Unwind here, and then you can use your hands to help lift you up. Good, and then you just kind of reverse everything here. So if you extended right leg straight, you can bend that knee, left knee, and we take the second side. And again, it might look different. So you can always just stay in this basic Tadasana posture. Maybe you are simply extending that right leg. This would be a great place to stay. This will work for the pose. You have that chair in front of you. You might place the right heel on the seat of the chair. And then final last little variation is you might extend your left leg too straight. It's hard to see here with my black pants against this cabinet, but I think you get the picture. All right, so coming into this pyramid stretch first, arms by your sides. Inhale, arms will reach out and up. And then exhale, hinge forward, fold in. And this side might feel a lot different. I can definitely feel that this hamstring's a little tighter in my body. So that just might mean that I do a little less. I'm sending my breath to the belly of that right hamstring. And then just back out a little bit. Bring your left palm to the right, so that middle finger lines up with your nose. Right hand to right hip. And then start to spin those left ribs to the right. It's a little more upright than the variation of that we just did of this pose in downward facing dog. So it is gonna feel different in the outer hips and the glutes. Finally, if you wanted to reach that right arm back. And just notice that my left ear was really creeping up towards my left shoulder, so you can check in with your body, see if that's something that's happening for you as well. Good, and then maybe spin that right palm up towards the ceiling, and then windmill that arm up and over. Unwinding, squaring your torso. Right hand to thigh, left hand to thigh. Roll on up. Nice work. And then finding your Tadasana, your mountain pose. Close your eyes here. Take a nice, smooth, deep, full inhale. And open your mouth. Sigh the breath out. Let it go. Ha. And then moving into our viloma, one breath. So smooth, full, deep inhale here together. Full, complete exhale, empty out. Inhale up to your belly button, pause the breath. Inhale all the way up underneath your collarbone, mid-ribs, hold the breath. And then all the way up underneath your collarbones, little lift of your sternum. And then slowly exhale the air out through your nose. Take a couple rounds of recovery breath here. All right, at the end of your next exhale, hold the breath out. You're completely empty. There's a little pause. Inhale up 1/3 of the way. Pausing. Inhale up another third of the way. Pause the breath. Inhale all the way up underneath your collarbones. Turn the breath around. Exhale the air out through your nose. Few rounds of recovery breath. And then one final round of our viloma one here. So smooth, full, deep inhale. Full, complete exhale. Little pause at the bottom. Inhale 1/3 of the way up. Inhale another third of the way up. And finally, inhale all the way up underneath your collarbones. And slowly exhale the air out through your nose. And then let go of the idea that you need to control your breath here. You just allow it to find its own natural rhythm as we move to a final resting pose, Shavasana. So you might just be staying exactly where you are, but it's going to feel a little different. You're inviting in this idea of receptivity, of surrender, of relaxation. That being said, if it feels more restful in your body to come into a classic Shavasana, lying down on the floor, or maybe a forward fold using that prop that you have in front of us, anything that calls to you, you're more than welcome to take that posture. And be here for a few moments, Shavasana. Asato ma satgamaya. Tamaso ma joyti gamaya. Mrityoma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Let your next inhale be deeper. And you can open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. And then bring some gentle movement back to your body. Wiggle, stretch. And you'll eventually land with your hands in a pile on top of your heart. Send yourself love and gratitude. Send each other love and gratitude. Promise yourself you're going to carry this good feeling with you into the rest of the day, week, weekend ahead. And finally, just bow your head with a smile. Beautiful work today. Thank you. Good to see y'all.